We have so much to talk about here. I mean, week one, yeah, we had some injuries, but we were able to keep the video short. I'm afraid this is going to be a long one. So as I go through and set up this live stream, we're going to try to keep this intro short. Of course, if you are watching this as a video later on, if you are one of the few people that have not hit that bell next to the subscribe button, fix your life. We're live streaming every single day until the season ends. I'm going to be live streaming, answering your questions. We'll have another live stream tonight where I can go through and answer those fantasy football questions. Same thing tomorrow morning. So I know you're already subscribed, but make sure you hit that bell next to the subscribe button if you want to actually be able to come out and participate in these live streams and get your questions answered. And then also, for everybody watching this, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream, drop a like on this video. I think that should be it. You can find all these player props right here. Of course, on Underdog Fantasy, we made our top 5 player prop video earlier this morning. If you want to go check that out. Over there on Underdog, not only do you have these cool player props available in pretty much every state, I think the 5 states it's not available in are Nevada, Washington, Hawaii, Louisiana, Michigan. Maybe I'm missing one, but pretty much 5 states is only not available in. Go check out the player props. We're going to be getting into drafts. And when you use promo code FLOCK to sign up for Underdog Fantasy, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings and you will get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. But that's enough stalling as I set up this live stream. Let's go through and let's dive into these injuries. And first thing I want to talk about here before we get to the juicy stuff is it looks like Gabriel Davis may have suffered a smallish injury here during practice today. This is going to be something we need to monitor. Now, I am not panicking. I think that just because he has a slight ankle injury doesn't necessarily mean you need to run to your fantasy football lineup ASAP and move him out. But the issue with this is going to be that he plays on Monday. So if he's playing on Monday, we may not have that clarity when you have to submit your starting lineups tomorrow morning. So I think maybe if you have 2 wide receivers in a similar range, if you are looking at someone like Gabriel Davis versus Deontay Johnson, Gabriel Davis versus Jerry Jeudy, Gabriel Davis versus my guy, Jalen Waddle, probably go with the other option. Don't even worry. Don't even stress about this. Like I said, I don't want to full-blown panic. It's just difficult because this is someone that plays on Monday. Now let's go over to our next injury here, and this is going to be Michael Pittman. I'm sure everybody knows this by now, but Michael Pittman ruled out this Sunday. This is a quad injury that he suffered during practice this week. I don't exactly know what to expect. What I'll say is because he wasn't a game time decision, because the man wasn't at practice this week after the quad injury, I am slightly concerned that this may roll over to week 3. Of course, we're projecting too far out there. Don't exactly know. It's just going to be something we have to continue to monitor. And the issue is with Michael Pittman, with him missing, it's not as easy as going, okay, well, we can find another wide receiver in Indianapolis, because the next guy you would go to with Alec Pierce, obviously Alec Pierce himself dealing with the concussion. This is a player that you're not going to be able to pivot over to. So it's very difficult to figure out who can we actually go to in Indianapolis? Maybe you want to go through, maybe you want to play Paris Campbell in a super deep format. Maybe you want to assume that in a PPR league, now Nyheim Hines is going to be viable because we won't have either Michael Pittman or Alec Pierce. Maybe you're slightly excited about going through and playing Mo Alley Cox. No, in reality, you probably play Jonathan Taylor. That's it. They're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't necessarily think that this team needs to have Michael Pittman this game. And now our next update, Dontrell Hilliard. Obviously, you're not thinking about starting Dontrell Hilliard this week. And obviously, if you have Derrick Henry, even though it's going to be a tough matchup going up against the Buffalo Bills, you're playing Derrick Henry regardless. So really, this impact of Dontrell Hilliard being listed as out really only impacts you if you're going to be playing DFS. Maybe you're getting in a weekly draft on Underdog where you're a little bit more excited about Derrick Henry, where maybe this week he actually sees 1 reception in this game instead of 0. Tough matchup against the Buffalo Bills. I just wanted to bring this up. Obviously, it's not impacting how you're submitting your starting lineups, but maybe for DFS purposes. And now going over to New York. Remember, coming into the season, we looked at the New York Giants way back in June, way back in July, before Kenny Galladay stunk it up at training camp. And we were saying, okay, this team has Barkley, Galladay, Kadarius Toney, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard. I mean, this team has a decent amount of weapons. It looks like it may be dispersed everywhere. Well, now at this point, Wan'Dale Robinson being listed as out. We know we saw Kadarius Toney only play 7 offensive snaps on Monday. Reports were saying that he was running with the 3rd team this weekend. this week at practice. So I think at this point with Kadarius Toney, you can't play him even with Wan'Dale Robinson being out. And he is this close to being just completely cut from your roster. I mean, we don't even know if he's going to play this week, but if Kadarius Toney ends up playing, which right now it looks like he's going to be a game time decision, and he only plays 10 or fewer snaps, Kadarius Toney is someone that you may just be able to cut off your team. KJ Hamler being listed as out. Maybe you give a bump up to Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Looked like KJ Hamler was on the path to be listed as out. Sounds like this coaching staff's just playing it safe going up against the Houston Texans. I mean, hell, if you're Denver going up against Houston, I would say you probably want to keep KJ Hamler in bubble wrap, knowing that you already lost Tim Patrick. So makes sense. But if we're going back and looking at where we ranked Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton for this week, we had these guys ranked at wide receiver 20 and wide receiver 21. We probably have to bump them up with no KJ Hamler, with no Tim Patrick, with no Greg Dulcich. I mean, there are a lot of pass catchers missing in Denver here. And then our next guy, Zach Ertz. I forgot to add the Rondale Moore slide here as well, but Rondale Moore is going to be out, and Zach Ertz is completely off the injury report. So it looks like you will be able to go through. You'll be able to play Zach Ertz with confidence. I understand that maybe you're a little bit worried about what we saw week one, given the fact that the man was on a snap count. But remember, in week one, Zach Ertz, wasn't really at practice. And when he was active, it was a game time decision to make him active here for the Arizona Cardinals. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a different situation if he's 100% good to go, if he's listed off this injury report. With no DeAndre Hopkins, with no Rondale Moore, Zach Ertz should be very appealing. And it looks like we can play him over George Kittle here. With Kittle, we don't know if he's going to be playing yet. He got in one practice. That was on Friday. It was a limited session. He hadn't practiced since, I believe, the start of the NFL season. I am really hoping we get Kittle back. Really hoping that it happens. But at the same time, there's an outside chance that very similar to Zach Ertz, who followed this same trajectory with his calf injury, that this is going to be a player that's actually on a snap count week 2. But if George Kittle misses, and this is another bad weather game for the San Francisco 49ers, get ready to probably buy low on some 49ers, because in my opinion, and I know we're sitting on an island here, but I think George Kittle is one of the most impactful offensive players in the game of football. If we look at him leading the NFL in yards per route run through the past 3 years, as well as what he can do with the run blocking efficiency for the 49ers. So if Kittle misses, if Kittle's limited, I think that you have to lower your expectations with Trey Lance, and it may present a buy low opportunity going into week 3. But it looks like Kittle's at least on the path to be playable in 3. Now, Kenneth Walker, not even on the injury report. Kenneth Walker practicing in full this week. I don't want to hit the full-blown panic button and tell you can't start Rashad Penny this week, but the amount of startable weeks, the amount of usable weeks that you will get from Rashad Penny going forward, in my opinion, in a full PPR format where we haven't seen Rashad Penny at any point of his NFL career demonstrate the ability to be a great pass-catching running back, I think that I do not want Penny anywhere close to our starting lineups, at least starting in week 3. Maybe it takes a little bit of time for Kenneth Walker to get ramped up. But think about it. With Rashad Penny, if he's not catching the ball out of the backfield, where would his high-value touches come from? His high-value touches would come from the red zone. You're looking for those touchdowns. And if he's playing in the Seattle Seahawks offense, I understand they were fine against Denver week 1. I think that was a little bit of a different game with them going up against Russell Wilson. I would be very concerned about the long-term upside that you're going to have here with Rashad Penny. Definitely, if Kenneth Walker's on the waiver wire, go get him right this second. And if you have Rashad Penny, I wouldn't mind going through and trying to sell before the game on Sunday. Now, our next one coming out from Allen Lazard here. This is a player that got in limited session after limited session after limited session. And I'm very surprised to see the sentiment and how it's completely changed with Allen Lazard. This was a wide receiver that I wasn't drafting in round 6 this year. I wasn't drafting in the beginning of round 7. A lot of people were very excited about him coming into the season, just saying that it was a guarantee that he was the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. I was sitting here going, you know what? This is an undrafted free agent that bounced from team to team early on in his NFL career, went to Jacksonville, then Green Bay. He's flashed in different moments in Green Bay, but never solidified himself as just an every down go-to guy for Aaron Rodgers that is a force to be reckoned with. So I wasn't buying in on Lazard being the guaranteed wide receiver 1 here for Aaron Rodgers in this offense. I thought there was an outside chance that it was one of these rookies, maybe walked. I don't know. However, it seems that people have gone to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and that now I may be higher than people on Allen Lazard because he's only missed 1 week with an ankle injury. It looks like he may be coming back week 2. I don't want to start him week 2. of definitely not doing that coming back off the ankle injury. But in terms of long-term upside, I've heard some people in the live streams, I've heard some people down there in the comment section, they've managed to be able to get Alvin Lazard off the freaking waiver wire to get him just tossed into deals. That is very exciting. Don't start him this week, but definitely be on the lookout for what the target share looks like in Green Bay. And speaking of guys we're not starting this week, but I love the long-term upside of J.K. Dobbins. I mean, right now he's not officially good to go against the Miami Dolphins. I'm assuming that he is. Now, keep in mind, I drafted J.K. Dobbins in way too many leagues. If I wasn't embarrassing myself by drafting Cam Akers in the 5th or 6th round, you better believe I was embarrassing myself by drafting J.K. Dobbins in the 5th or 6th round. Can't wait for the long-term upside that we have with this play. But at the same time, coming off this injury, I think that we have to be very pessimistic about the role that he will have in week 2, despite him playing, at least practicing in full all week long. Don't start Dobbins. But it's going to make it where you can't start Drake. It's going to make it where you can't start anybody in Baltimore at the running back position. And I think Dobbins is someone that we could maybe look to put in our lineup starting week 3. Now, we have a long list of injuries here for the Bucs. Obviously, you have Godwin listed as out. Everybody knows this. Godwin never at practice this week. You have Russell Gage getting back-to-back limited practices in here. And I don't want to say you should start Russell Gage, but I'm just proving a point. So we have Godwin on the injury report. We have Gage on the injury report, missing practice at the beginning of the week. Mike Evans goes through, he practices Wednesday, then gets downgraded on Thursday. He's back to a limited practice with the calf injury on Friday. I think you have to play Evans. I understand here, Lattimore. I understand the history we have with Tom Brady going up against the New Orleans Saints. Y'all know on our player prop video for Underdog Fantasy, you can find those props in the description, in the live chat, or in the video in that last one. One of my favorite prop picks was Tom Brady over half an interception. Now, still, I think you have to go through. I think you have to play Mike Evans because we already listed Gage limited, Godwin out, Julio Jones limited as well. Maybe I am just being stupid, but I have spent enough time over the past 5 years to see Julio Jones on injury reports, to see Julio Jones not practicing, for him to finally be active on Sunday, and for him to be utilized as a pure decoy in this offense. I think with all these players on the injury report, almost said IR, and also with Leonard Fournette being limited at practice as well, lower your expectations with Tom Brady this week. Please. Tough matchup. All his weapons are banged up. Because all the weapons are banged up, I'm going to be willing to start Mike Evans despite the tough matchup. But it's going to be a very, very difficult situation. And now, right now, I try to wait as long as I could with this live stream because we don't have official reports on if Alvin Kamara is going to be playing on Sunday. But it looks like there's a good shot that he's not because Alvin Kamara misses practice on Thursday. He misses practice on Friday. And if Alvin Kamara were to miss, I am not going to be jumping up and down to jam in Mark Ingram because Mark Ingram himself is not healthy. I don't want to go through and just jam in Taysom Hill thinking, I don't know what's going to happen at the running back position here in New Orleans. But what I would say is, I think if Kamara were to miss, you can confidently bump up your target share with both Michael Thomas as well as Jarvis Landry. These are wide receivers that operate a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. I think it would make a lot of sense that those targets that would naturally go over to Alvin Kamara instead would go to those wide receivers. And maybe without Kamara, with the banged up Mark Ingram, I know they bring in some depth this week, but still, with really no capable running backs in New Orleans, that they would look to throw the ball a little bit more with Jameis Winston, especially knowing that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the past 3 years now have had one of the best, and I repeat, best run defenses in the NFL. I don't know. I think you bump up Michael Thomas and bump up Jarvis Landry. Like we had Michael Thomas ranked wide receiver 17 in our rankings. I think you can move him up to like wide receiver 13. And we had Jarvis Landry all the way down to there, wide receiver 36. I think you can move Jarvis Landry as high as like wide receiver 27 if Alvin Kamara misses. But real quick, we just hit 200 likes on this live stream. Thank you guys. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like. We will be getting to the fantasy football Q&A later today, as well as tomorrow morning. So just make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell next to the subscribe button. I'll spend like 5 hours tonight and like 4 or 5 hours tomorrow morning answering your questions. But our next one coming out from Cincinnati, looks like T. Higgins is going to play. Obviously, this was a weird situation in that T. Higgins, for an undisclosed personal reason, missed practice on Thursday. Sadly, it sounds like that was for T. Higgins to attend his father's funeral. Very sad to hear that, but it sounds like you should have T. Higgins good to go this Sunday. He has to clear concussion protocol, but based on the reports we're getting out of Cincinnati, it looks like that is going to happen. And I think that should be it. We're right back to the beginning here with Gabriel Davis. So thank you, of course, for spending your time with me. If you want to go check out any of these player props, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up. You can find the link in the live chat. You can find the link in the description. When you use promo code FLOCK, you will get my rankings, and you are going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. There's no better way to support the channel. Like I said, you can find that link in the live chat. Find it in the description of the video. I will be answering way too many questions. Probably be live for about 5 hours tonight. 5 hours tomorrow morning. Have no voice by the time we get done with it. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, but more importantly, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. Thank you again. I appreciate all of y'all so damn much. And actually, here's what we're going to do. Just because y'all came out to the live stream, once this video ends, we are going to go through and wait 5 minutes. And then for someone who's dropped a like on the live stream and left a comment, we are going to give away a Fantasy Flock Network hat if you want one of these bad boys. I have a ton of these to ship out on Sunday. But thank you again. Go down there after this video ends, drop that like, leave a comment, and you'll be entered in to win a Fantasy Flock Network hat. But thank you again. I appreciate y'all.